Hello, it's Wednesday. I have been gone a couple weeks. I said I was going to do our book study every week, and then some family emergencies came up, and so it's been like 3 weeks, but I'm back, and I'm going to keep doing the book study. If anyone joins on, then go ahead and put a little comment down below. Let me know you're here. But I am going to dive in to chapter 1. This is 5 things successful people do before 8 a.m. This book was really just an encouragement to me. I started it the end of last year with a couple friends of mine, and so it was such an encouragement. I wanted to share it, and the best way I know how to share it is through social media, and that way anybody from anywhere can hop in, give their thoughts, and then read it along with me if you want, or if you don't, you can just jump in here and I'll let you know everything that's going on in the chapter because it's so good. It's hard to just take little snippets of it. So I'm just going to share what's on my heart, share about what I'm learning, share about the things that really spoke to me, and then feel free to just let me know if it was an encouragement to you, or if any of what I'm saying resonates, or like you have the same thoughts or a different thought or a different perspective. I just want to hear from anybody that has anything to say because I love this book so much. I'm continuing doing my personal development, learning new things, listening to podcasts. It's been like my New Year's resolution to do those things. So I have a little bit of time. So I'm going to just jump in, and hopefully what I say will make sense and will resonate with you. So starting in chapter 1, the title is Stop Killing Time. So the author is going through the 5 successful things that people do. And her first thing is she's saying people just kill time. They waste time. And the quote she starts off with says, each day teaches us the value of time. Be grateful for the daily opportunities. And I think that's just so great. Like, be grateful for the daily opportunities. Don't just look at them as, oh, I have to do this. Oh, this is another thing on my to-do list that I just have to get done. She says be grateful for them. Because our time is so valuable. And so look at each task that you're doing with joy. Okay, so she gives this analogy of popcorn versus car keys. And this basically is saying that you choose the temporary satisfaction over long-term joy or reward. So she gives this whole story in the book, starting chapter 1, like I said, page 3, and then she continues on to page 4, telling this. But basically she's talking about her friend went on a trip to Africa, and she did this safari thing where they went to like a monkey, I don't know what it was, like not a resort, but a monkey rescue. And these monkeys were taken from people who had trained them to be thieves. So the monkeys would do these little acts and have this little like routine that they do, but in the meantime, they're distracting you and they're taking your things. They're stealing them away from you. And you don't know because you're so in awe of what these monkeys are doing. Then they take them back to their owners, and then the owners continue on and continue doing tricks in other places and stealing people's things. So popcorn versus car keys. It means that we're choosing the short-term desire over a long-term destiny. So we're taking that short-term, oh, I really want this, and we're taking it right now, but in the long run, it's not the best thing for us. So we pick, she gives like the analogies of, we pick entertainment over wisdom, and we take the instant gratification over a delayed reward. So we don't want to work for something. We just want it now. We want it to be ours now, and then we worry about the future when the future comes. Instead of thinking now, is this going to satisfy me? Or is this going to set me up for like a long-term relationship or a long-term goal? Or will this benefit me in the long run? Opposed to just bringing me gratification now. And so she says, we choose a magazine over a personal development book. That's where we spend our money. We're choosing something that will bring instant gratification. We'll get the newest gossip and the most recent celebrity news, all of those things, instead of choosing the personal development book where we're going to learn, and it's going to set us up, whether in our business or our personal life, our relationships, all those things in the long run. We choose watching a TV show over listening to a podcast. Something that would help us maybe spiritually, or something that is going to help us in our business or in our relationships, or just in our like personal mindset. We're choosing that TV show, that instant gratification over a long-term reward. And then scrolling social media over joining a webinar. So we're scrolling social media, we're getting that instant gratification. Oh, look what's going on in so-and-so's life. Oh, look at all these things that are going on, either in the world, in our friends' lives, our family lives, our acquaintances' life, or the random person across the country. Like, we're choosing that over listening to a webinar, joining a webinar, that we could learn something that could set us up for success in the long run. We consume ourselves with watching other people live their dreams and delay living ours. So we're watching all of these things, we're listening to all of these things, we're enjoying all of these things, but in the meantime, we're postponing our own joy, our own lives, our own like long-term satisfaction, long-term results, long-term goals, because we're living in the lives of other people right now. We don't serve, it says, don't be average and your life won't be average. We don't serve an average God. God has manifested plans in your mind, in your heart, and He wants you to live them out. He wants you to be your best self. He wants you to enjoy those things in the future. But you have to put in the work now. He's not going to hand them to you on a silver platter and say, you know what, this is the goal I have for you. Here it is. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to try. You don't have to put yourself out. Get out of your comfort zone. It's here. Just take it. That's not what He's saying. We do have to put in the work. We do have to join in putting forth effort every single day in order to get the things that we dream, the things that we desire. All right, so I have 3 things. I'm hoping to get through these a little bit faster than I did my introduction. But the first one, where are you killing time? So this is the first step in identifying and moving past time wasting. Your time is the most valuable thing you have. Every morning, she writes this in the book, page 4, we wake up and are credited with 86,400 seconds. Every night, if we don't use that time effectively, it's gone forever. So every second, you are choosing to set yourself up for success. You are choosing to put yourself forward. You are choosing where you are going, or you're just pushing it off. You're just wasting those seconds. You're not doing anything with them. It says when you view your time differently, you'll start making the most of it. How we choose to spend our seconds results in how we spend our life. Again, setting ourselves up for success. So then number 2, our expiration. She writes, we all have an expiration date in our life. Our time on earth is limited and precious and valuable. God doesn't want you wasting another second with meaningless habits that are derailing our dreams. This was so hard for me to read because this chapter is just coming after the passing of my grandma, who I loved so much. I was so close to her. But it reminded me, I wasn't going to share this, but now I'm sharing it. So here's a freebie. While we were going through pictures for the funeral, I was seeing like my grandma's life played out, right? Like I was seeing her with my like aunt as a baby, with my mom as a baby, with my grandpa and their marriage and all these places that they traveled. And I remember saying to my grandpa, I never knew that you and grandma traveled so much. And he told me, he said, yeah. He said she really wanted to travel while she was younger, so that way when she retired, she could just sit back and relax and enjoy all of the things that retirement brings, and not have to worry and not, try and push it all in at her, as she's older. Now, she was only 68, so that's 10 years younger than the average American lives. It says the average American lives to 78.6 years old. She was only 68. So I look at this and I think she had so many more years left. But then on the flip side, I look and I think, like, she enjoyed her life. She worked and she traveled and she enjoyed what she was doing. She didn't get bogged down on the day-to-day tasks. She looked at it as a joy. Like, if I work, I get to do these things. I get to go on these vacations. I get to spend time with my family because I'm putting in the time to earn the money to do what I want to do. So anyway, that's a freebie. Moving on. God has prepared an extraordinary life for you. Wake up. Start really living. Make every second, every minute, and hour count. Take the first step in a positive direction. Read a book, attend a webinar, walk a mile, make a decision, and just do it. Just jump in, just make a decision, say, I'm going to work on this, and just go for it. Don't let something hold you back. It says every decision pays off. So if you're moving forward, if you're moving in the right direction, making that decision and pushing for it, it's going to pay off. You're going to see the reward. It might not be instant gratification. You might not see it right now, but down the road, you are going to see the results of this one-step decision that you're making right now in your life. Okay, number 3, are you wasting your life? There are 8 signs you're wasting your life. So she breaks it down into 8 different things, and we'll move through them pretty quickly. But first she starts with saying, busy doesn't mean productive. So reevaluate your day. You tell, like, everybody, right? Everyone, oh, I'm so busy. I'm just so busy. I have so much going on. Like, I'm pretty sure I've heard everyone say that at least once in their life. And my husband and I always have this joke, like, we'll talk to people without kids and they'll be like, oh, we're just so busy. Well, we have 3 kids. We run 3 businesses. Like, we know what it's like to be busy. And we do use that excuse. We use that excuse of, oh, we're so busy. But we also do have free time. So we make time for what we want to make time for. So we don't fill our day doing work-related tasks from sun up to sundown and have no time together as a family. We really prioritize our days. So at night when he gets home, a lot of the time, now there are some times where I have like work calls at night, work meetings, whatever. But most nights when he gets home, we say, okay, this is our family time. So we're going to eat dinner. We're going to relax. We're going to clean the house. We're going to, do the laundry. We're going to spend time together and enjoy that time. Maybe take the kids to the park or go on a family walk. And we prioritize that. So we are busy, but we can always make time for what we really want to make time for. So her first sign, her first of 8, that you're wasting your life, it says you're comfortable. So when did you last challenge yourself to learn something or try something new? Has it been a while? Have you not done something or tried something new in years or months? Try something. Just start it. Just start it right now. Just make the decision and jump into it. Stop being comfortable. And then she gives this illustration of being content. It says being content is fine, but don't confuse with contentedness with settling for less. When I first read that, I shared on my Instagram stories back at the end of last year, and I was saying how easy it is for me to like be content. Like a lot of people struggle, like, oh, I want the newest car, I want the bells and whistles, I want the biggest house, I want whatever it is, this new job, and people struggle with that. But for me, it's easy. Like, I can just be content. Like, I can drive the same car for years. I can not have a car like I do right now, and I'm fine. Like, I don't need it. I don't go anywhere. I'm home with my kids. It's okay. But I look at everything as a season. This is just a season. And I say that all the time when people say, oh, I don't know how you do it. And I'm like, it's just a season. Like, I don't know how you stay home with 3 kids. I don't know how you homeschool. I don't know how you work. I don't know how you do all these things. And I say it's just a season. It's just a season right now. And because looking at it that way, it allows me to be content and where I'm at. And then it allows me to also plan for the future, because this isn't going to be forever. I'm not going to always homeschool. I'm not going to always be a stay-at-home mom. My kids are going to get older, and my life's going to move on, and I have to have dreams. I have to work towards those things. So being content is okay, but don't mistake it. What did she say? Don't mistake it for contentedness. So you're not settling. You're not staying in this position. You're going to keep moving forward. And then she uses an example of Steve Jobs, which everyone knows who he is. But he would ask himself every day, if today was the last day of my life, would I be happy with what I'm about to do? If the answer was no for several consecutive days, he knew he needed to make a change. So a lot of us get stuck in a job. We don't love this job. We don't want to keep working this job, but we say, oh, well, I have to work in this. But if you don't love it, you're not stuck there. There's other opportunities out there. There's other things you could do. So go and find those things and do them. Don't be stuck in your position. Don't be stuck working a 9 to 5 or an 8-hour day at some business or behind a desk, whatever you don't want to do. You can move your life forward. You can find something else. You just have to put in the work to go and do it. Don't let your life become stagnant. Push yourself out of your comfort zone and grow. I love that this lady is a Christian and she shares biblical stories. So in this one, she's sharing the story of Abraham and his father. And basically the story is, which I've read the Bible through. I try making a point to do it like every year, read the Bible through. But I feel like a lot of times when we get to the Old Testament, and even sometimes in the New Testament, we gloss over some of those older stories. But this one was so fitting for this, and I love that she put this in here. It's Abraham's father. They were moving to to Canaan. They were moving on to, it's called the land of more than enough, is basically what Canaan means. And Abraham and his father set out to go there. And before his father got there, it says he stopped and settled. Instead of continuing on to where he wanted to get to the land of more than enough, his father just stopped and settled. But Abraham pushed on. He kept going. He didn't stay there and settle. He just kept moving on. It says, never stop and settle when God has so much more for your life. Force yourself to grow. Force yourself to do more, to be more, and make a point to not settle. So point number 2, you've settled at a miserable job. I kind of talked about that one, so I'm not going to say too much more. But again, don't let yourself get fooled into thinking you're stuck in this position. You aren't. You can move past it. You can find something new. It says we only get one shot to live the life God put in our hearts and dreams. So do it. So go and live it out and be that ambassador for Christ and follow that dream that he put on your heart. Another time waster that she puts in here is your TV is your bestie. It says the average person watches more than 35 hours of TV a week. So what could we accomplish if we watched one less hour of TV each day? What could we accomplish if we chose to spend that 1 hour of time doing something else, to prioritizing our personal development, to prioritizing our spiritual walk with God, or doing all of those other things? Now, I put in here in my notes, I'm going to share a confession, because Nathan and I, at the end of every night, we do love to sit down and watch a TV show together. And we used to be like, as soon as he'd get home, we'd eat dinner, we'd start watching TV. And then the more our work started to pick up, the more team calls I had that like slowly dwindled down. And then I read this book and I was like, wow, we're still watching like 2 episodes a night. That's 45 minutes each episode without interruptions. And we have plenty of interruptions with kids coming in and out and talking to us, needing snacks, whatever, bedtime routines, teeth brush, all of that. And so that 2 hours of watching a show turned into like 2.5, 3, 4 hours of watching something with all of the interruptions. And I don't think it's bad to relax your mind and do something like that. But if you're watching 5 hours, just take one of those hours that you're watching something and do something else. Listen to a podcast or do a personal development, read a book, find something to entertain your mind that's not just sitting in front of a TV and watching other people live their dreams. Put it towards figuring out what yours are and going for it and like taking that step and saying, you know what, I'm going to do this for me. That's not for anybody else. This is for me. And I'm going to be intentional and I'm going to move my time into this area so I can better myself. All right, number 4, you make excuses. We are where we are because of our choices. Don't blame shift. Don't say, oh, it's so-and-so's fault I'm here. It's not. Our finances, our life, our education, all of that is where we are because we let it be there. It's our choice to be there. It says you control your life and future. So take advantage, take control of it, and move forward. Keep doing what you want to do. Don't get stuck in living out a dream that you don't have. You can move yourself forward. And then some of the excuses she gives, I don't have the education, I'm too busy, it's too hard. And she says excuses are a sign that you want to do better, but you also don't want to be uncomfortable. Well, if you're uncomfortable, that's a good thing. It means you're moving yourself, you're stretching yourself, you're growing yourself into something that you've never experienced before, which is a sign that you're moving forward. You're not being stagnant. You're not staying where you are. All right, number 5, you relive the good old days. You dwell on the past, and if you dwell on the past, then you remain in the past. It takes more strength to know when to let go and do it. So this is hard because I feel like there are times where you can reminisce on the good times, but you also have to say, like, but look where I'm going. And I think for me, when I read this, I'm like, oh, but I like remember all of those good times I had with my grandma, and like I miss her and I love her, and like I want to remember those. And I don't think she's talking about that. I think she's talking about, like, if you're saying like, oh, I remember when I was in high school and like it was so great because XYZ. Well, like, yeah, that's great, but like look how far you've come. Look at you've got married, you raised a family, you're working a real job, a big kid job, whatever it is. Don't reminisce on where you were then. Look at the progress you made along the way and keep dreaming for something better in the future. God has everything for you, or everything God has for you is ahead of you, not behind you. And again, she brings in the biblical story. She talks about Lot's wife in the story in Genesis, where it talks about how God was going to destroy the city because of the rampant sin. But he told Lot that he would spare him and his wife from the city's destruction if they left and didn't turn back. And if you know the story, you know that Lot's wife turned back. And when she did, God turned her into a pillar of salt. And so it's talking about like moving forward. So God ended their life there. He's like, you know what? You leave, everything's going to be destroyed. You move forward and don't turn back. Don't look back at what you had here. Keep growing and moving forward and get to where you're supposed to be. And she didn't. And so that ended her life. She looked back and she was killed for that. It says, surround yourself with where you're headed. Create a vision board and keep it in front of you. Make your dreams bigger than your memories. This is something, I started a vision board, I think it was back in like February or March. And just like, where do I see our family? Like, what goals do I have for our family? What goals do I have for me personally, for my husband's businesses? And we talk about them often now. Before it was kind of like, oh, I don't know what we want. But now, like, I sat down and I took a week and I just thought about it, like, what do I want? Like, if I could change where we are now and do something better in a year, like, what would it be? And so we talk about that. We keep it at the front of our mind, and I review it pretty regularly. But it just, like, keep that in the front of your mind. Don't think about, like, what you had before. Think about where you're going and remember those things. Number 6, you've stopped dreaming. If you can't see what's in front of you, your vision is impaired, then you'll stay where you are. So she gives the example of, like, if you're in a torrential downpour and your engine's working and your headlights are working, everything in the car is functioning perfectly except your windshield wipers. You can't go anywhere. You're stuck because you can't see where you're going. And so that's what she's saying. Like, don't let that impaired vision stop you. Like, keep your vision clear where you're going so you can get there. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. And then number 7, you've stopped learning. Every day we wake up with the opportunity to learn something new and grow ourselves. If you want the future to change, you have to change. It won't just change for you. You can't just say, oh, I want to be here in a year and make no progress in getting there. You have to put in the steps to get where you want to go. Your growth is a way of life, not a period. So every step you take in the right direction, this isn't just a period. You are actively going to do this. You're actively going to have to push yourself to grow yourself the rest of your life in order to get where you want to go. It says you cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction. Be intentional about what you do each day. So you decide today, okay, you know what? This isn't where I want to be in a year from now. So here's the things I'm going to do to change it. And you can take it one at a time. Like, all right, today I'm going to start with working out. And today's going to be my day 1. Set that goal and tell yourself I'm going to do it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is to get yourself in that routine. And once that is a routine, then add something new to it. Okay, now I'm gonna, stop snacking at night, and I'm gonna cut that out of my diet. I'm gonna, change that so I can lose weight, whatever. And then now you're working out, now you're not snacking. And each month or each couple of months, every time you get that routine down and you're making progress in the right direction, add something new. Then you're constantly growing, you're constantly changing, you're moving yourself in the right direction. You're not staying still. You're not just like, well, check that off my list, now I'm good to go. All of the changes are going to come. They're not going to. You have to keep working towards them. Number 8, and this is my last one, you don't believe in yourself. What you believe about yourself on the inside is what will manifest on the outside. So much in like my line of work, we talk about mindset. And I think that's something that's always glossed over. And I kind of like chuckled when I first heard it, like, oh yeah, mindset, whatever. But it's so true. Like if we tell ourselves like we're not capable, like she was saying, like I'm not smart enough. And it's too hard for me. I'm too busy. Like if you tell yourself that, you're going to believe it. But if you tell yourself like, yeah, I can learn this, then you're going to find ways to learn it. You're not going to just sit around and like wait for it to just all of a sudden pop in your head and say, wow, I know how to do this. Like I know how to build a house from scratch. I just sat around all day doing absolutely nothing and now I can build. Like it's going to get done. You can't do that. You have to learn how to do it. You have to like figure it out, find the books or the videos or the whatever it is, and like actively put your mind on those things. Tell yourself, I can do this. I just have to learn it. It says when you write your story of your life, or when you write the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. You're in control. You get to choose where your story is. We didn't get to choose where we were born. We didn't get to choose who our parents were, who our grandparents were. That wasn't our choice. But we do have a choice on how our life ends. So the beginning was already written for us, and our ending is open to us. Like we're allowed to choose where we're going. We're allowed to choose where we want to be. It's not written in stone. We can say, I don't love where I'm at, so I'm going to make myself something different. I'm going to choose something different for myself. And we have that choice. It's not up to anybody else. It's not up to the people who say, you can't do this. Like, this isn't for you. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. Like, they're not writing your story. You get to choose how you write it. And so I love this chapter because there was just so much impacted in it. Like, she just has a way of breaking everything down and kind of making it really practical. Like, take it one step at a time. Like, change your mindset or change your routine, whatever it is. Like, choose that long-term, goal, that long-term satisfaction over like a temporary gratification. That, as she puts it, the popcorn versus the car keys. That's the monkey example of, those monkeys. I don't think I shared this at the beginning, but the monkeys, when they'd steal things from people, when they're in this like rehab facility in Africa, the workers at the rehab facility, they would put popcorn in their hand. The monkeys would come and they'd take the popcorn and they'd start eating it, and the workers would say, give me the car keys. Give me the car keys. You stole those car keys out of that person's pocket. Give me them. And the monkeys would. And they'd take that popcorn and they'd run. But what they had originally, that the car keys, was so valuable. And so don't choose that like instant gratification, that little bite of popcorn, over the valuable thing in your hand, those car keys that those monkeys had stolen. Like, look to the future, build your future, and choose to do that. Like, choose to do it for you, choose to do it for your family. Our story's not set in stone. We get to choose how we end it. So that's all I have. I'm going to try and do chapter 2 next week. Lord willing, nothing tragic happens like the last time, but this book was so good. So if you are interested in reading it, it is this one, The 5 Things Successful People Do Before 8 a.m. Again, I take the 8 a.m. very slightly, and I modify that to fit my routine. A lot of times my work comes later in the day, but it's so good. It's so encouraging. So if you enjoyed that, I would love to hear from you. But anyway, I will see you guys next week with chapter 2.